So,
ready to go whenever you are, my guy.
all right, and three,
3, 2,
2, 1.
number
This is for
1.
you, Winter Soldier. This one's for you, Falcon. What up? It's Friday night. This is going to be a new tradition, part of the new Marvel Cinematic Universe within Disney Plus. First off, he is because, well, he's a man of color. He is J.R. Kamakungan, so therefore, AKA, he is the Falcon this past week, and I am the Winter Soldier because, well, that, and I'm the oldest guy in the group, which we're going to bring that up in this conversation. This is a full-on spoiler alert. Spoiler. I'm going to have it right here, right on the bottom on YouTube.
Yep.
It's going to say spoiler. We're breaking down episode 1 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Also, not JR Comics 42 on Instagram, Voice of Reason 23 on all social media outlets. Let's get right into it.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, the logo hitting you, and it's just like, all right, let's get into this.
It's like they haven't missed a beat.
Yeah, it's like we just had this like 2 weeks ago.
I know.
I will say, having gone through WandaVision and like the grief that was the anchor to that show, it was a little odd the way Falcon the Winter Soldier starts off. Is you see Falcon almost kind of having like a somber moment with the shield as he packs it up. And I know that in a lot of the trailers leading up to this week's premiere, there were people leading to believe that Steve Rogers, Captain Steve Rogers, no longer Captain America, Captain Steve Rogers, old man Steve, has gone on to his great reward. He is passed on. We still don't know if that's the case, but it's very much like,
that's one of the things they're going for. Looking like
they're going for.
Yeah.
But then it kind of goes into this real kind of basic military font, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then bam, we're on board a C-130. We're flying over the Middle East.
Yep.
We're about to blow some shit up. And I'm telling you, JR, this, other than that somber moment, this show it just went fourth gear for an hour. This opening sequence was incredible. So.
It was like it's like they reminded you, like, hey, we're a superhero show. We're a superhero genre. We propel the superhero genre forward. And we propel action. We propel action movies going forward the last like couple years now, right? And so it felt very much like, oh snap, the Russos are back. You know, for me,
it was.
If I forgot who directed the first episode, but it felt very much like, oh, this is Russo. This is typical Russo fashion, and just how everything was placed, how everything was just molded nicely. And it was I was happy to see my guy GSP in there, man. George St. Pierre.
Oh, I was just gonna get to that. Okay, so the director for episode 1, I believe, did all 6 episodes, is Carrie Scogland.
Okay.
She is got her. Take a look at her IMDb page. Most recently, she worked on The Handmaid's Tale. She also directed 1 episode of The Punisher with John Bernthal, which we know that got a little intense. And it did. You know what, JR? It did have that kind of feel. It did have a Punisher kind of feel, very gritty. You know. We're recording this live on Friday night, by the way, opening night of the NCAA men's basketball. Freaking San Diego State just lost, fuckers. Anyways, she also did Walking Dead, The Americans, House of Cards, Fear the Walking Dead.
That's a great resume.
Oh yeah, I mean, Sons of Liberty, Vikings.
Vikings too.
Jeez, I mean, Longmire, Under the Dome, The Killing. The Borges, Boardwalk Empire. These are all. Boardwalk? Yeah, she directed 1 episode. A lot of 1 episode, a lot of one-offs.
Still though, like, and they gave her all 6 for this one.
As far as I'm seeing right now, is that she is getting the series.
Nice.
She did do the L Word, Queer as Folk. Back in the day, back in the early 2000s, when HBO and Showmax,
you gotta get your feet wet.
Showtime were just absolutely killing it in TV. Really and truly, I mean, I will say this, you know what? This is a perfect pick for to do that based on her resume, because you look at Carrie's resume, and she comes from the heyday. And if it were not for shows like The L Word, Queer as Folk, Pushing Daisies, Sopranos, Sex and the City, all those shows that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s on cable, we wouldn't have this.
Yeah, it's like I'm liking a lot of like Disney, the Marvel side. I'm liking their picks for directors. Right, we've had just the picks they're doing constantly, specifically for Marvel too, or like they got these crazy kind of one-off, like not one-off, but like these very interesting personalities. Right, I think about TD. I think of the Russos when they first came on. I think of who else? Favreau, even, right? The originator of it all. And also with Favreau, what he's doing right now, specifically with Star Wars, right? With everything there, and him grabbing on directors and different voices and trying to implement them and see their view. And so giving her right now the series, okay, I'm interested. I'm interested. I'm definitely hoping that this is gonna be like this is definitely a crazy testing table for her, right? If it's definitely that, right? If Kevin Feige is really about like, all right, cool. You really want to end this? You want to be one of our mainstay directors? All right, we'll give you some shit right here. We'll give you a full series of Falcon Winter Soldier. But going back onto Falcon Winter Soldier, I liked the action. I really did. It was very and granted, it was pretty sparse considering even though it was a very fast paced episode. We had that amazing sequence in the first 15 minutes, and that.
I'm watching it right now.
I'm happy that GSP is back. I loved it. Oh my gosh, dude,
I love that character.
Yeah,
we're talking about Batroc the Leaper. Yeah. He is a not French. I can't remember what the background is on the character. I guess he is in the comics. I think he's French.
Yeah.
But he's a martial arts bad guy. He does align himself with Baron Zemo. Hey. Wink. He is a member of the Thunderbolts, amongst other things. But in this one, he is part of the LAF. And we don't know what it means. But I will say deep cut, all right, because we're going to talk about this on the next week's episode, is as a collector's episode, here's a deep cut, is we get introduced to a new partner for Sam Wilson. Steve Rogers is gone. If Sam Wilson was Steve Rogers' buddy, now Sam Wilson needs a buddy, and we get introduced to a character that we got introduced back in Captain America Sam Wilson, I think number 3, and the guy's name is Joaquin Torres, and he actually becomes only the second person in the Marvel universe in the comic books to take up the mantle of Falcon. Now he is cross-bred. I was just actually watching a video right before we popped on that Joaquin was actually, I think, like mutated with Red Wing, which is of course a real Falcon that Falcon has.
Do
you know more about Joaquin than I do, or?
I don't actually. I
just know he's a weird mutated Falcon. Good guy in the comic books. And so, hey guys, looking for a first appearance? Go grab it. Might be a little $15-$20 wall book, but
a little more now. But it was just I totally, like, when I first saw the character, man, I heard the name Torres and I saw military. I was brought back to like these old school like memes from like Call of Duty 4, right? Where you play the main character and you basically had to do everything, right? And so every time you hear commanding officer, Torres, get to the station, Torres, disarm the nuke, Torres, like that's all I just think of, right? When I'm thinking like, oh, dude,
wow,
they're going full meme. So
you are correct. Right now, first appearance of Joaquin Torres, Captain America Sam Wilson, number 3, came out in let's see, I think it was like 2015, 2016.
It should be recent. It should be pretty recent.
January 2016. Of course, it was done by the famous Nick Spencer run. Daniel Acuna did the artwork. Right now, high grade, $50 high grade book right now. Up 460% books sold this week alone.
Of course.
So it is confirmed that yes, that Danny Ramirez, the actor, is playing Joaquin Torres in this. But yeah, this opening sequence, we see again Batroc the Leaper. Last time we saw Batroc was in Captain America Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier. He's obtained by Steve Rogers on the ship, the Lumerian Star, where he's looking for Agent Sitwell and other Shield agents, which we know now were
Hydra
agents.
Yeah.
And Batroc was, I think he was still independent. He was not teamed up with Hydra, but he knew something was up, and he was Algerian. That's what it was. He was Algerian. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Batroc the Leaper is Algerian. Yeah. He's not French. I think in the comic books he's French.
He's French. Yeah. It's just like I was just happy to see GSP again, right? I was hoping he wasn't a one-off character. I was hoping he didn't die the first episode, and so when he, when Sam kicked him off the helicopter, right? Or no, when he got the helicopter,
he escapes as the helicopter blew up.
Which is like, all right, cool. It's just good to see GSP, man, because I'm a huge MMA fan. I grew up watching GSP fight, and just seeing him transition, hopefully, into a longer career, into action movies or even stunt work, man, because especially for the man who he can fight. He was Taekwondo, martial arts, all this stuff, right? World renowned, Hall of Fame MMA fighter. And so he knows how to punch, he knows how to take a punch, and he knows how to throw a punch, right? Like throw a good looking punch. And he looks great, man. He looks really freaking good. He doesn't look like he's almost hitting 40. So
no,
I'm happy for him.
The last time I saw, that's the thing about GSP that I like is he knows his limits.
Of course.
And the last fight I saw him fight was when he fought, I think, was it Tito?
No.
Man. No. Who was it? He just jabbed him to death.
Oh yeah, that's the Koscheck. But I think before that he fought against Josh Koscheck when he came back, beat him.
Like some guy that ran his mouth.
Oh, dude, Bisping. Yeah, it's Michael Bisping.
That was it.
Also a Hall of Fame fighter, great guy. And then he beat him. He I think fourth round he rear naked choked him, and he came up with a belt. Michael Bisping was the champ that year.
That's right.
And then he came on the belt and then retired. I'm like, cool, just retire.
It was so great. It was GSP. Like I said, one of the only times I ever saw him, because I'm not a huge MMA fan, but I got all the respect in the world for these guys.
Yeah,
is he was so stoic. He just sat there and like that's why I said I think it was inevitable that he was going to make the leap into acting because he could sit there and no sell.
Yeah.
This guy being a jackass. And I just remember for 4 rounds, boom, boom, boom. No roundhouses or anything. But
that Koscheck fight was nasty. But then, that's neither there. But like, I'm just glad that GSP is having more roles, and not only that, but he's in Marvel roles. Granted, the only thing that would that would deter him in my point of view is, of course, he has a heavy French Canadian accent. And so, that's not a bad thing. But
no, because they've been able to work it into the character.
Exactly. He's like, he reminds me of not Rob Van Dam, but Jean-Claude Van Damme, right?
A little bit,
right? And he reminds me of that, and it's gonna be a lot harder to sell him nowadays because of just like, I don't know. It's just like people can't get past his accent. I don't know why. That's the thing. But right now you don't need him to talk. If he could speak if he speak just in his normal language, it'd be perfect. Put him in French films. Put him in not French films, like put him in roles where he can naturally be himself. And that I'm just happy he's there. We also saw in the episode we saw Rhodey,
which we're at right now. So we're at the. I want to talk about that. Was like that again. I was like, oh my god, did they kill Steve Rogers? Like, and they don't. They just it's an opening of an exhibit at the Smithsonian. Yeah. We know in Captain America, Winter Soldier, they do kind of have a mini exhibit. One would assume is at the Smithsonian, but in this particular case, they are. Sam Wilson is handing over Cap's shield. He's handing over the shield that was given to him, and you see Rhodey kind of grimace when he hands over the shield, and there is kind of that moment and. Not to make it a race thing, but let's make it a race thing, is you have the two major black characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe from the Avengers are Sam Wilson and James Rhodes. Yeah. And you did kind of see where Sam doesn't take up the mantle. Like Rhodey's like sitting there. It's almost like that look on his face is like, no, bro, this was for us. This was for the new Avengers, but this was also to be an example. And we know obviously down further into the movie or into the show where
he'll take it up. Yeah.
racial thing kind of comes up. And
which honestly, when I first saw that scene, because when Sam talks about like the first thing I said to Cap after he gave it to me was like, it feels like it belongs to someone else. It's yours. And like, and then the way they handled the scene, right? Because a lot of times you'll have, people specifically in either the geek world or the comic book world, right, who had grew up with this stuff, they hate appropriation, quote unquote, right? Like, why can't you make him a different character? Why can't you have his own thing, right? And so you have these sides of people, say shit like, when Sam was first Captain America in the comics, people hated that idea.
yeah,
But I feel like nowadays, and how it was handled in this instance was better in my opinion, because like it's like the trajectory of Sam Wilson's character throughout the MCU films feels like he needs to earn it, right? And it feels like he hasn't earned it yet, which inevitably he's going to earn it throughout the whole series, right? He's going to earn it within the series. And for me, that was just great to see that they didn't just like, push it in and say, hey, here, you're Captain America now. Here's the shield, be on the suit and all that stuff. No, I love the fact that they're really trying to say, hey, no, like being the symbol means a lot, and you have to take it seriously, because this isn't just a person, it's an ideal, it's a symbol. And like, I love that they pointed it out. I love that Sam pointed it out in his speech. Like, it means more. It has to, like, when he said, like, when I got it from him, it feels like someone else's. It's a heavy weight, and it should be, because that's how you got to signify Cap. That's how you got to signify Steve Rogers. Like, he means a lot. And so just giving that shield away, or taking upon that shield and not having that type of like, what do you call it? That type of weight, right?
yeah,
The weight that shield carries. I feel it was done very well. Specifically, it's gonna propel us, or not propel. It's gonna set it up where, yeah, he's gonna have a moment where, like, yeah, okay, he's Captain America. He's Captain America. That's Sam right now is my Captain America, right? At the end of this thing, I feel like that moment's gonna happen, and we see the big reveal at the end. I know I'm gonna cut to it, but we see the big reveal, but and that just that point is my point right there is solidified when we see the reveal at the end.
Yeah,
type of thing. But we'll get to there when we get to it. But
now we get I like it too, because I think it's a slow burn. I wasn't collecting at the time. I'm still playing catch up, because the book that got me back into collecting back in 2016 actually was Captain America Steve Rogers.
Yep.
I was one of those
Hydra.
at the Hydra Cap. Yeah. Because I remember reading, it was the same thing with Superman back in 1992. When they announced that Superman was going to die, they were going to kill off Superman. Like, how do you kill off that cannot be killed?
Yeah.
And I remember reading the book. I went and bought the trade paperback, because I was like, I got to read this. I've never read a comic book a day in my life, but shit, you got my attention. You're going to kill Superman? Yeah, Superman gets his ass kicked every once in a while, but he never gets killed.
Yeah.
And I remember reading the book. I had read that trade paperback cover to cover numerous times. I mean, it's one of, if you look at that book, you would think it's a golden age book and how bad a shape it's in. But it's because I read that book. It was so good. It had me so enthralled. And the same thing with Hydra Cap, when I was like, we're right in the middle of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think Winter Soldier had already come out. Yeah. And you have this red, white, and blue spangly superstar in Chris Evans playing Captain America, playing Steve Rogers, and then you have the real, I guess you say, the real life Captain America in the comic books. I mean, the real Captain America go hail Hydra, an organization he has spent the better part of a century fighting against. I was like, fuck, you have my $3 to $4. I'm going to go throw down and get that book. So I started collecting there. And I remember still seeing on the shelf, seeing the Sam Wilson book. And I remember looking at it going, it looks kind of the same. And so I find out later, obviously Nick Spencer did both runs.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get into it. I liked Sam Wilson as a character. I liked the Falcon. I had come to grips with the fact that as a noob comic book collector in 2016, what it meant for Sam Wilson to be to be Captain America, that it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't just a black guy taking up the mantle for, affirmative action. It was Sam Wilson has been by Steve Rogers' side for 50 years in the comics. Now, granted, Bucky Barnes has been too, but Bucky Barnes has always been Bucky Barnes. Yes, he took up the mantle of Captain America. He yielded the shield a couple of times, but it's really and truly the partners in crime in the Marvel Cinematic, or I'm sorry, in the Marvel universe, the Marvel comic universe, has been Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers. So, I came to grips with it. I was okay with it. I was like, well, I didn't have to necessarily come to grips with it. I was just like, I'm fucking fine with it. I don't give a shit. But I liked it. I'm with you, JR. Part of me was like, let's go. He's Cap. He got the red, white, and blue Falcon suit. We got the red, white, and blue Red Wing on the back.
Yeah.
We get the spangly Sam Wilson thing, but we don't. And I'm like, I'm okay with this. He's got the new Stark gear. He's got, and there's a scene too where he he's tinkering with his own toys. Like, he's become this kind of an engineer a little bit. We assumed from the get-go that he's just a grunt, a grunt in the Air Force, by the way, repping the USAF for both Rhodey and Sam Wilson. But he's got some brains. He's in there and he even smacks Joaquin Torres. He goes, every time one of you ops guys mess with my gear, it comes back fucked up. Like, so he's kind of dropping there, but I was okay with it. I like the Rhodey appearance. I don't think it didn't feel too forced. I think it was appropriate because you look at probably, and oh, by the way, the lay of the land is this is post blip. This is after Avengers Endgame, within 5 to 6 months after the events of Endgame. Tony Stark's dead. Steve Rogers is MIA. I will say this funny moment. I laughed out loud was when Joaquin Torres asks Sam Wilson about the conspiracy theories that he read online about the location of Steve Rogers. He goes, I heard he's lived on a moon on a moon base. And I was like, oh my God, what a great callback. Yes. Deep cut. That's such a deep cut. But
I was cool. Like overall, I'm liking where the series is going so far, or the overall premise at the moment. It feels good. Like they're talking more about the blip. They're talking more about life afterwards. They're talking about what has happened in the last 5 years, specifically with Sam's sister and her kids, and she's a widower, and just having that interaction there. I'm like, all right, cool. They're really humanizing Sam. They're showing us his motivations, his upbringing, what he's done. They rep NOLA, like, great, freaking awesome. We got NOLA in this bitch now. we're talking about more so of his upbringing. We're talking more so of like just the culture behind NOLA, and just small. When him and his sister, or his sister and he, went to the bank, right? And they're talking about about getting a loan, and when the loan guy goes, how do you make money as a superhero? I always want to know that. And like, that was never, it was a question that we never really asked, but also kind of wanted answered, type of thing, right? Like, how do you make money, right? Do you just have government? We can understand that Tony Stark has money because he's Tony Stark. We understand that, majority of the Avengers go through Tony Stark, but now Tony Stark's gone. Where is your funding now, type of thing? And not even that, but like, we asking, the other Avengers too, the other Avengers like Vision now, Wanda in the priors, and all this stuff. And so just small tidbits like that, like how, as a superhero, are you making ends meet? And that really humanized for me Bucky, and just the overall day to day. There was a great show of saying that, hey, he's a normal person as well. He doesn't really have superpowers. He's a very, I would say, in a category like probably peak human fit. Like, he's able to run. He's able to run at high speeds. He's able to basically have higher endurance because he's traveling at crazy high speeds in the air and all that stuff. But overall, he's just a normal human being. He's a normal guy who has half a house with a sister, who has half a business with his sister from his parents. Like they super humanized him. I enjoyed that. And the also other thing that I loved and enjoyed as we kind of segue into this is the addition of Bucky Barnes. How do you feel about Bucky?
I like the introduction to him. I'm sorry, I'm getting a text from my brother, or again, a little group chat going about the basketball tournament. So I will admit, I saw this. I know that you had mentioned that you were staying away from trailers, spoilers and stuff like that. I'd seen the scene that they showed where the Winter Soldier comes in, and it's very much Winter Soldier because there's a moment where he says "Hail Hydra" as he kills an op, he of course then has a cold-blooded moment where he sees a guy who's just trying to get away. He didn't want to see anything. He just wants to get away. And we know that that Bucky leaves it's all about body count. It's all about numbers. He is the world's greatest assassin. Natasha mentions it in Winter Soldier. So many confirmed kills. He's almost like a legend. He's a myth. Yep. And so no body is left unturned. So a kid point blank gets blasted, kind of important later down in the story. So, and then of course he wakes up and we see current Bucky, short hair, got the Wakanda arm, which by the way, the way my freaking arm's going right now, hey, Shuri, you got another one? Because I'm about ready to cut this bitch off. But he wakes up, and then of course he goes into a therapist office. Yeah. And we've kind of seen that hinted in some of the trailers that him and Sam are doing couples therapy. And we find out too that he has been pardoned for his past crimes. He is, he was a enemy of the state. I mean, it was a terrorist. Between what he did as a member of Hydra, what he did in Civil War by breaking the Sokovia Accords. Obviously, he went on the run oh my gosh, Steve put him up in Wakanda on ice and became the White Wolf.
Yep.
And then, of course, he gets snapped out of existence for 5 years and then comes back in Endgame, and the rest is history. So he's pardoned, but part of his pardon is that he has to do a 12-step program that we find out. And that was a funny moment. So he's sitting there, he's explaining, I thought it was great there. He's explaining what he's doing in his downtime. And he's working with the FBI and the CIA and probably, we don't know if it's SHIELD. We don't know if it's SWORD, but he's working with the U.S. government on it's I think DOD. So he's working with the Department of Defense. Yeah. And he's bringing in bad guys. And it's funny as he's scratched, like almost like how Steve Rogers did in Winter Soldier. He has that checklist in the notebook. Yeah. He's checking off names. Now, Eagle Eye, someone caught in that notebook, it said Zemo in that book. So who does that mean? Now, there are multiple Zemos in the Marvel universe. Yeah. There's Helmet, which is the Zemo that we are getting in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then I can't remember what his dad's name was. I don't remember. But those are the two helmets. But I think he's probably mentioning Baron Zemo, the one that we're going to get with the purple mask here this season. So, I thought that was kind of a good introduction to the character.
Yeah. I'm liking how they're introducing these characters too. Where like they gave him a short action scene as well, and just it's Bucky. Yeah, we know like the amount of physicality that's there, that we know and have come to enjoy is definitely the Winter Soldier. But just having the I'm liking how they're really taking note and putting the fact that the blip is meaningful, right? It has taken a toll on people that have been there the last 5 years, but also are coming back. And I'm glad they're really focusing on that. Like, yeah, we've had two characters now that are trying to come to amends with like the fact that they were gone for 5 years. That the world again has has passed them by, and even more so with Bucky, where like they pass it by again for him because of just the man is absolutely freaking tortured and
it is Helmut Zemo. I'm looking at the list.
Of course,
I paused it.
Yeah.
So we've got a Rostov, we've got a R.W. Hauser, F. Ganod, I. Talaser, H. Zemo, H. Henriksen, N. Sari, Saroi, T. Osman, L. Kaminsky, M. Kaminsky, and C. Kuznetson. Now, I know there was a couple of names in there that were from like some this total left field Marvel characters, but Helmut Zemo is the one that
it's just he's made it known in his meeting or in his what would you call that? I guess it's like it's recovery, it's therapy, but it's also at the same time it's sanction type of thing. We're like, okay, in order for you to get pardoned, you have to do these things for us. We have to talk about it and all that things. And so he's definitely still dealing with his demons. He's still having nightmares, and that I like that he's trying to somewhat make amends. That's his whole thing. Like he's trying to make amends, right? Or he has a 3-step type of thing where he's not doing anything illegal. He's not hurting anybody, and and he has to make known that I am not Winter Soldier anymore. I'm Bucky Barnes. And that I'm trying to do all that stuff, and so that was cool. And just him trying to live a normal human life. We see that he meets this older Japanese gentleman, and that it looks like they've had a relationship for quite a while now, and that he brings them to sushi, and they get sushi again, and the old man has some. Got him a date with one of the workers there, and there's a very poignant scene in that where he looks at a plate, and it has, I think it was green bean or rice bean bread, and he talks about his son. Want to talk about that, my guy?
Yeah, I was wondering for a moment there where I was wondering where they were going to go with that, and I think it didn't take very long for me to realize that his son. Okay, it was like, okay, did the son get killed in Sokovia? Did the son get killed in Wakanda, or wherever? Are they going to do it like a Marvel name drop? And it just says, oh, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm like, okay, he's an innocent bystander, so maybe he's not killed by the Winter Soldier, or maybe he was collateral damage. And as the conversation's going on, I was pretty adamant, it was pretty prevalent that at some point Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier, killed this gentleman's son, but in what fashion? And of course, fast forward, we inevitably see who the boy is, and the boy is the wrong place, wrong time, where Winter Soldier breaks into this hotel and kills a bunch of bad guys, assumed to be some kind of maybe Hydra Splinter Cell or something like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's inside of this ritzy hotel, like almost like could be in like Budapest or something like that.
Yeah.
And this guy's trying to get into his hotel room, and he gets blasted point blank, and that ends up, we find out, is this Japanese gentleman's son. Yeah. And so it's like, oh god, now he's just he's making amends.
Yeah, it's great how I'm really enjoying this new type of multifaceted approach that Marvel is taking, where hey, let's have two characters with their own possible lifestyle, their own histories, and just bridge them together, and so it doesn't get stale type of thing, right? We have of course Sam's history with his family, or trying to get back with his family, or trying to basically save the vestiges of his family. And then we have Bucky, where he's just dealing with a lot of the sins of his past, man, and just seeing that scene and how he's just basically trying to make amends, or trying to do right by this old man. And I'm like, damn, I know a tortured soul when I see one, man. Just like he's constantly living that. and I always kind of want to know too, because he's been used now for about 100 years or so, or about 80 years. Like, I'm hoping they would finally say how he is super powered per se. Like, was he giving? I know they made certain notes of it in certain occasions, like a lesser form of the serum in Winter Soldier. But they're like, he's on ice for a little bit. He gets injected and all that for literally 80 years or so, right?
Yeah.
But they never really went in depth with like what kind of like serum did he take, or what type of methods was given to him to have such a like a one. He's basically the John Wick of this world.
Yeah.
And
it's a great comment. He's the bad John Wick of this world. Yeah. No, it's hinted at that. And it was funny. We were just having this conversation. We were having this conversation with my wife the other day because we were watching this show on CNN about food in Italy. And it stars Stanley Tucci. And I had a conversation with another friend who says, man, Stanley Tucci, they got to find a character for him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because he'd be such a great actor. And they have all these great actors. I'm like, Stanley Tucci's already been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he was a character in Avengers, First Avengers, Captain America, First Avenger. And Dr. Erstedt, no, gosh darn it, I knew I was going to forget it. But there is the guy who plays the guy who inevitably plays is a MODOK. No, not MODOK, but
that was MODOK. But him, the kind of mousy character you're talking about.
Yeah.
He was kind of hinted at in WandaVision.
Zola, Armin Zola.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have Dr. Abram Erskine. Erskine's formula is the blueprint for the super soldier serum that Steve Rogers takes. And in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Armin Zola also creates a formula, but it doesn't have
same effects.
It has weirder effects, so to speak. And it's believed because when Bucky is found half dead on ice in Austria, I think it was, after the train incident.
Yeah.
He is found and he's brought to a Hydra facility and he's worked on by Armin Zola. And Zola uses some kind of concoction, assuming his version of the formula, to give him super soldier serum. And I think it has also, I think part of it is allows them to brainwash.
Yeah.
And of course he goes through a lot of different torture devices to brainwash Bucky and stuff like that. But it is also finally said how old he is now. It is assumed, which I'm going to have to do the math here.
Yeah.
So because I think we might have found a continuity error. It's assumed in game is 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. He says that he's well, no, I guess that would be about right.
Yeah. About 106.
He says he's 106 years old, which put him born in 1917, which, okay. So you go, let's just assume 1941 minus 1917. Oh, I did it wrong.
1917 to 2023.
Well, I was trying to figure out how old he was when he joined the military.
Oh, he would have been like 18, wasn't he? Like 18, 19 years old.
But I'm always looking for the
the actual continuity thing. Yeah.
Actually, well, he would have been in 1941. It would have been in his early 20s, but at that point, they were taking anybody that was able-bodied.
Oh, absolutely. It was the draft. So if you were just hit 18, you were in the army.
So we're now that we get this scene where Bucky's getting hooked up on a date with this Japanese bartender.
Yep.
And I don't know if this is any major character. I know someone tried to say that.
I don't think so.
I don't think it is either.
And what I will say, even though technically, I don't. Well, it's not really political. It's just more so just being a fucking good person. But with the recent events that's happened to my community, the Asian community, the Asian and Pacific Islander community, of just all the racism that's happening, it's good to see that we have Asian people kind of front and center, right? Pretty closely, and like we're seeing them as like just people who lose, people who are just trying to work and trying to do that. And so just it was like a statement without them making a statement type of thing, which is to me like great. I'm like I'm in it already. I've been in it, but like now you really just made some extra bounty points with me just having that in there. I know it was there to begin with, but like with everything that's involved with happening in the freaking world right now and all that shit that's happening within my community, it's good to see that. It's good to see that they're showing us in a good light. But I digress.
And I will say, not that he needs it. If anyone messes with JR and his family, I'll fuck him up.
Good luck, dude.
I'll say first off, JR is like on arm day 24/7. And I wouldn't mess with his sister either.
Yeah,
sister
it was crazy, dude. I would never thought to have this conversation. Like, I know we're gonna kind of go off the rails just a little bit here, but like the seriousness that's happening, I've had the conversation with my freaking parents. Like, hey, y'all better be careful. You guys need a knife or anything? You guys need protection, because like these attacks on elderly women specifically that are like around their 70s and 60s. Like, what kind of fucking? Like, it's gonna be it's gonna be very crude of me to say, but what kind of fucking pussy really tries to take on an 80-year-old Asian woman?
What do you get off on?
Fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, guys. It's like, I get it, and they kind of hint with it, and that's where I thought they were going with, but to tie it in with the show.
Yeah.
I honestly, at first, before I kind of put two and two together, that the Winter Soldier took out this this guy's son, and I know that in Captain America at the very beginning of the first Avenger, when they were putting together the Howling Commandos, and we're now right now. We'll talk about a little in a second about Sam Wilson. We're seeing the background of Sam Wilson and his family and stuff.
Yeah.
I honestly thought that for a second there that something happened to this guy, the father, this Japanese father. God dang it, what's the character's name now? It's gonna bug me. By the way, Leah was the name of the bartender.
I get her name. That's weird.
But by the way, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Anyways, don't want to get too far. I thought maybe because obviously both Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson fought in World War II. World War II, part of that war was fighting the Japanese. I thought, I'm like, oh fuck, did Bucky do something over there? But I'm like, wait a minute, they fought on the European front. They were in Europe. They did not fight the Pacific.
Yeah.
And they had, and also I'm like, wait a minute, in the Howling Commandos had a Japanese guy. You had Marietta.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that wasn't, and that's when it hit me like, oh, freaking Bucky took out his son.
Yeah.
So
I got that early, dude.
I was kind of concerned about with that, but
they had that pointedly. They just don't be a fucking like.
Don't be a pussy.
Don't be a fucking.
You want to fuck with someone? I'm fuck with the white boy.
Like, what kind of
know your role?
What kind of fucking asshole? Okay, I'm usually pretty light on kids, right? But like, the second you take a life, the second you go to fucking 3 Asian parlors, right? Who supposedly is supposed to have like some sexual activity going there. Who gives a fuck? You don't take someone's life out because you can't control your own dick. Like, stop it. Fucking stop it. It was racism, all that shit. But like, I'm just glad that one of the most touted like hype shows that's coming out for Disney Plus, that's for Marvel in general, is showing that, hey, no, like, Asians are good people. What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, we're front center. They're normal people who work normal jobs, who have normal families, who feel lost and grieve like you and I do, right? Like every other person does. So like, I'm glad they're normalizing that aspect of it. Other than that, man, just seeing Bucky's turn, like his turn into trying to be a civilian, it feels very much in the sense like I think season 2 of Punisher, like the first episode, or is it season 1? Season 1, yeah, where like he's trying to work a normal job and trying to be a normal person.
Oh yeah, it was
like he's just.
I always get confused, too, where he's working up on the on the breaking the bricks.
Yeah, like it felt very much like that, and that's cool. It's like you're trying to, again, normalize heroes. What happened after the blip? They need normal jobs. They need to do normal things. They need to be normal people after they get out of their spandex, right? And so I thought that was cool, man. I'm really liking the vibe, or like the look of these these shows now, which honestly to me they're not shows, they're just like segmented, like short segmented like movies now. And I'm hoping they continue this trend, man, because like this is just more content for us as fans to enjoy.
I was joking around that the only movies they have in the can right now is Black Widow. They're post production on Shang-Chi right now. They're post production on the Eternals.
Yep. What else is getting done too?
I know Spider-Man's still in production, but Eternals is wrapped. Shang-Chi is in post production, but they have Black Widow in the can. I was thinking like, forget movies, bro. Just go full Amazon. Just put shit on streaming. Like just forget the big screen. But I know that right now I love the movie experience. I just talked to Chick this past week, and we're actually genuinely. I'm going to help her out as best I can. We're genuinely looking, with everything kind of loosening up a little bit. We're genuinely looking at bringing the Pull List movie night back in some kind of abbreviated form. So,
absolutely.
If you're a Pull List member at Comic Asylum, let Chick know whether you like it or whether you're comfortable or not at doing that. She wants to hear from you. I was one of my favorite nights. It's one of the things I miss the most about things being quote normal. So but we get into the. I like the character Leah. I know it's only one episode. She's kind of a smart ass, not hard on the eyes. She's kind of a powerful, good looking female character that can kind of hold her own. And it's almost kind of like I don't know, maybe she could be like gosh darn, I'm trying to think of like almost like Rosario Dawson was in the Defenders series. Like I know she was Night Nurse, so she had an actual character, but it's like I hope they keep Leah around.
I hope so too. Like I'm wondering, maybe like I'm trying to remember all my aging characters, right? Like maybe she's a callback to a character. Maybe she'll be a superhero somewhere, or honestly, sometimes maybe she'll just be just that character and a one-off character that we'll see. But I don't know, they can possibly call her back, and do the whole thing where we talked about last week, where actresses, they'll come back for a second role and be someone more important. So I'm hoping that might be the case with her. The scene that she was in with Bucky felt very natural. Nothing felt forced. That was pretty cool that they brought up. What was the game they played? Battleship.
Yeah, they're playing Battleship.
They played Battleship, and that was cool. And just the stark contrast between why would you say like you remind me of my father? I'm like, he's basically your father's. He's older than your father. He's like your great grandfather at this point.
He's 106.
Right? 106, my guy. And so now we have to get to the huge freaking elephant in the room now, because I'm pretty sure we've gone through it. Well, we've gone through the parts where Falcon's family issues of him trying to basically recoup his parents' legacy in a sense, right? We've gone over that aspect, and just him trying to come back into his sister's life after being blipped out of existence for 5 freaking years. We talked about like how when last time he saw his nephews, they were like babies, but now they're young men. They're little men now, which is like, that's a crazy thing to think about. But now the big reveal at the end.
Well, did we miss anything? I'm gonna fast forward through all this. We did forget it real quick. We saw the first introduction into we do know now what that group is with the masks. It is the Flag Smashers. It is an amalgamation of the actual character named Flag Smasher and a group called Ultimatum in the comic books, which of course is an acronym. I forgot what it is. I'm not going to get into it, but it is, to me, as a Shield fan, there were two great callbacks to Agents of Shield in this. Was first off, going back when Rhodey and Sam are talking at the Smithsonian, and there's a moment where you see kind of like this glass kind of partition, and it has a picture of Cap's shield, like kind of in the glass, and then it has a picture of the Hydra logo, and then it has a picture of the Shield logo, and that's the first time that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has made reference to Shield since probably Age of Ultron or well, yeah, because there's a moment where the helicarrier comes up and he goes, "That's right. This is Shield." He goes, "This is what Shield's supposed to be."
That's right.
but really and truly, on the cinematic side, it's expected that Shield is gone after Winter Soldier. Shield is done. It's finished, because and then I think the only reason that Age of Ultron made reference to Shield directly was because Joss Whedon was writing and directing Age of Ultron, and Jed Whedon was show running Agents of Shield with his wife. So it was probably like, hey, I'll throw you a bone. So this is like I said, this is the first moment, and of course we heard after the conclusion of WandaVision, we get introduced to a sword. Someone asked Kevin Feige, he goes, never say never. That these organizations get torn down and rebuilt over and over again. He goes, maybe we haven't seen the end of Hydra, maybe we haven't seen the end of Shield. And that was another great moment too, was where you had Bucky go, "Hail Hydra," something we hadn't heard in a long, long time. So we get to see the Flag Smashers. We see that they are some kind of powered individuals. We see Joaquin Torres get his ass whooped. It's freaking almost curb stomped. Thank God he's okay. And he gets some secret video of these guys. And it reminded me of much of the Rising Tide, which I'm wondering if maybe that Jed and Joss Whedon, when they first created Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that the Rising Tide was maybe what this is, and that Feige's like, hey, I like that Rising Tide idea. Let's steal it and just call them the Flag Smashers. We do know that they are a crazy organization that wants a world without borders. They want a world in the blip. They are pro blip, basically. They loved how things were going. That is, again, we get a quick introduction to that. We see this kind of a larger gentleman, kind of like, who could that be? We don't know yet. And then I think we saw our first glimpse at Aaron Kellyman's character, Carly Morgenthau. Of course, Aaron Kellyman from Solo, a Star Wars movie. He's the Scottish redhead, kind of looks like Brave. But we see like a quick glimpse of her with the mask, and we see for a second that Joaquin's going undercover as a member of the Flag Smashers. And then, of course, like I said, he got his ass whooped. And then we saw the scene, another kind of maybe racially driven scene where the Wilsons don't get the loan to save the business. That leads into Sam, hey, I'm going to try and save the business. He's on the phone with Torres about the Flag Smasher event. Like, hey, we need to talk about this. I got some footage. What are these guys? Yada, yada, yada. And that's when his sister walks in. And this is where we're at, bro. This is the big reveal. This is the big kind of backstab. The character, by the way, that we see side by side with I'm trying to find him on IMDb. I did not catch his name. I think it's he's just known as a government official, played by Alfie Hiorth. We see him at the beginning of the show with Sam on stage. He hands the shield over to this guy, and then we see the same official saying, on behalf of the Department of Defense and our commander in chief, let me introduce you to America's new superhero, the new Captain America, and John Walker. And so John comes out, and you see him from the back. He's got the A on his back that we've seen on the football scene, and we've kind of seen in the promo, something that Steve did not have on his uniform. And then the camera turns around, and it's very U.S. agent. It's that it doesn't have the star. Doesn't have the star in the middle. It's a dark blue and red striped across his chest. Very comic. What's the word I'm looking for? Comic, true to the comics. And but I will say, though, he looks like a total dork in the helmet. So I don't know. What'd you think of the big reveal?
Like, it's not more so I knew it was coming. It's just more so like what was gonna be the motivating factors for Sam to basically be Captain America, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. This is gonna be his internal struggle throughout the whole season, or throughout the whole the season, basically. And just, I mean, the guy looks like a dork. He's supposed to be, right? I feel like they're gonna probably play him like I forgot the main character. I forgot the character's name in in The Boys, but like the Superman of The Boys type of character where he's all American supposedly, but like he's just this huge farce of a not farce. Yeah, he's supposed to be a farce of the play of like superhero, and like I'm thinking that's gonna be his role, right? That's gonna be his role. That's how he's gonna be how he's gonna be played. He's gonna be very much the gilded side of how America is viewed. I'm thinking possibly, or even just the resignations and I mean, it would be too on the nose. I think it would be way too on the nose if they played his character like he is supposed to be the Captain America chump version, right? I think that would be too on the nose. They might go for it, honestly, if they want to see you know, the type of representation that was put out in some of the comics of like, you know,
super fascist.
Yeah, super fascist, super some wilding out shit, right? But we'll see how it goes. I know he's supposed to be the opposite, right? And he's gonna be the foil for Sam, and I can't wait to see how that plays out. It's just like, yeah, okay, cool. You know, I understand they talked about symbols and talked about you need new superheroes to take up the mantle and be these symbols for justice and symbols for the American way. But like, yeah, it was just, to me, the whole thing was, I get it, it's there, but like, man, this should have been revealed. Maybe I was hoping maybe, you know, maybe another episode in, and not more sort of this episode, you know, type of thing. But granted, you know, the pacing of it was good. It was decent. The pacing was great, and that the episode itself, great. Just a great introduction to a new show, basically. Like it's a stark different than what WandaVision is. It's much
absolutely. Even when WandaVision kind of hit their stride.
Yeah.
And I will say this, that it's like I said, as I put on social media that you know, this just kind of goes after you at 100 miles an hour. And I'm not saying that it's an action movie for 45 minutes, but it's
pacing is good, man.
The pacing is very good.
It's very it's very well done, in my opinion. Like it's making me want to see the next episode, right?
Oh, my son, my 7-year-old son was sitting there and he goes, "Okay, Dad, hit skip, go to the next episode of Jake." It comes out once a week.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, it's not like WandaVision where we get the first 2 episodes." I'm like, "No, it's only 6 episodes. It's only a 6-hour show."
Yeah.
And he's like, he was so disappointed. And I will say it was great though. It was like halfway when they were doing the opening scene with Falcon and he's flying through he's like, he looks at me, he goes, "Yes, they're blowing stuff up." He was all excited. He was stoked. So
that was like, dude, they're putting money, like the amount of CGI and like just not just the CGI, but like the amount of like high definition and just the widescreen pans and just like they're in actual settings, they're in actual places, and they're shooting. This is very the cinematography is amazing. I must say. It's very movie quality, high grade movie quality type of cinematography, type of like just like all that stuff, right? And so yeah, man, it's serious. Like when as a fan of Marvel, movies and Marvel properties, I now have expectation. We're like, if they're doing this right, if they're having this type of like level of like not just creativity, but like just level of care in their freaking TV shows, then this is the standard all around. And granted, you know, we did have this standard somewhat in WandaVision, but not more so like, but that was like in its own like type of, you know, bubble, quite literally, or hexagon, I guess, and quite literally. And that level of care was seen throughout the entirety of the series. We had, of course, had to peel it back like an onion when WandaVision happened, but then with Bucky Winter Soldier, with Falcon the Winter Soldier, it's just immediately you see the quality on full display. And this is now like, all right, for every show going forward that's gonna be Disney Plus, I expect this level of quality. Period. Like, this is great. This is freaking awesome. This is something that helped tide us fans over until the next big MCU film, right? And even in that essence, it feels like, all right, cool. Like, I'm loving this type of content. I really am. I'm super enjoying the fact that Marvel can go, all right, we have a huge cast of actors and actresses. We have a huge stable of them. Let's get them work, all of them. Let's get them to do, the Disney Plus shows. Let them to do, full on movies. Let's get them to do other iterations. Oh, we're doing this thing now where it's, there's going to be 2 stars or maybe 3 stars, a show, a TV show, a movie. There'll be cameos here or there. It's very much close to comic books, and I'm loving that. Like, it's there will be your kids' generation will be a generation that's raised on this. That this level of quality, this level of care is the standard that they now will have to see and put on everything else. And that's kind of sad, because like you and I, dude, we had to wait for this type of thing to come to fruition. And I am a huge fan of what's going on now, dude. I cannot wait for the rest of the series. I can't wait for freaking Loki. Loki looks freaking good too, man.
Oh my gosh. And we do know now who, it was revealed. We do know who Owen Wilson is playing. He's playing Mobius.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I'm trying to.
No. It's out there, but okay. And I'm looking for it right now in the end credits. It was pointed out to me online, and I don't know where it's at. I'll have to go back and watch it again at another point. But it is it's in the credits in the little, and again, you talk about the Russos. And a great job by the writers and the director for doing this. Is the show has a Captain America Winter Soldier feel to it. It's very much the Russo's Winter Soldier movie, which to me, we will have to have this debate another time about what is the best MCU movie. I know a lot of people in the last 2 years will say that Infinity War is pretty damn good and Endgame was great, but I don't, from a storytelling point, from top to bottom, Winter Soldier could be the total package of a movie. Gritty, as a gritty political thriller, and that was where they started to do. I mean, we don't have to do a comic book movie. We're going to do
whatever movie,
a political thriller, like clear and present danger, or the Patriot, or Patriot Games, or this or that, and just shoehorn in comic book characters. And that's what they did with the Winter Soldier. And this has a feel to it that we are getting, almost like, dare I say, House of Cards, which is a great series on Netflix, where you have some political, because here's I'll pose the question to our audience on this one is, why does Sam have to give up the shield? It does not belong to the United States government. It does not belong to the people of the United States. Yes, it is a symbol of their hero, their star-spangled heroes, Captain America. But it is since Captain America's Civil War, it has been known that shield belongs to Stark Industries. It is a Stark product that Howard Stark got vibranium. He created the shield, that actual shield, and continued to upkeep it for Steve Rogers, as did Tony in latter years. So why did he have to give it up to the Department of Defense? Why did he have to give it up to the federal government to then hand it over to someone who should never wield that shield? He was, what's his name? I can't think of the guy's name now. The character playing.
We'll call him government dude, whatever.
No, I mean like the U.S. agent.
It's
John Walker. John Walker was never an Avenger. John Walker. We don't know yet if John Walker served in SHIELD or SWORD or whatever. We don't know what his background is, but
Well,
I don't know. I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'll try to see if I can try to answer that question, particularly in my own opinion. Is that, well, one, granted, even though Sam was rocking with Cap for a very long time when it comes to the MCU, he's still first and foremost a U.S. soldier. He's still very much, part of the Air Force. He understands the symbol which Cap's shield represents. And I thought, or at least I think that that Sam thought that was going to be put in the museum. Like, this is a symbol of Captain America, right? And it's supposed to be seen as a symbol rather than a tool, which I feel that was supposed to be the what is supposed to the debate, or the I guess the moral debate that was posing the question at the end of this episode. Like, you know, we have this man who gave up his best friend's gift to him to say, no, this represents, this is a symbol that represents, just being courageous, and then having that strong spirit to do what's right. And he was supposed to put that in display right by Captain America's uniform, right? I thought that was the imagery that I was supposed to have, or the ideal that I was supposed to see as a viewer. And then we have that question then being thrown out, or we have that idea being thrown out into question when you have the government at this point in time give that symbol of hope and freedom to a fake Captain America as a tool now. And like, I want to know, I definitely want to know now in the next episode how Sam feels about that.
And and I hope they also, how does Sam really feel? How does Bucky feel?
That's
Bucky was there when Steve got the shield, per se.
Mm-hmm.
He's sitting there and Steve put the team together the Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
How does he feel? But I think the bigger question is are we going to find out? I have to imagine we're going to. What makes John Walker? Do they have this guy? Is he a super soldier? Is he going to be
there
was a character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they called the Patriot, and in it this character, he inevitably becomes the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. when Phil Coulson resigns. And he becomes the Patriot because he is supposedly a super soldier that was kind of lying in wait, that he didn't want people to know, and he was actually at the signing of the Sokovia Accords and saved people's lives. Well, you come to find out he doesn't have the super soldier serum. He just has he gets these injections once a day or something like that. So he was kind of like this fake guy who just happened to be in the right place at the wrong time. And happened to save someone. They caught it on photo. So he was like a photo op that
superhero.
Photo op superhero that they caught him on film saving some lady during the bombing in actually no, it was Zemo bombs the embassy and kills T'Challa's father. And of course Natasha's there and other people. So this character, the Patriot, and so he becomes, they happen to catch this picture, and so the government's like, we need to make him a symbol, and I think this was at a point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It could have been right after Civil War. Yeah, it was after Civil War because there was the Sokovia Accords had been signed. So Cap was in hiding. Cap was for lack of a better term, doing the secret Avenger thing. And so Patriot kind of took up the mantle for about half a season as kind of Captain America light. There was no shield, but there was kind of a lame ass costume. So I'm wondering if is John Walker going to have a similar, was he right place, right time? Kind of like you said, what do you call it? A photo op superhero. Who knows?
Yeah, I just want to see how that plays out. Just see, just overall, man. Just it was a good entry into this new IP that we
Oh
that,
yeah,
that
absolutely.
it was given. But overall, but just try to put things in a neat, nice little bow to end things off. Your final thoughts of the new series that is uh, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Great show. Answered a lot of questions, filled in the gap, stayed on timeline. Uh, love the background story on Bucky. Love the family aspect for Sam. Tells us a little bit where he came from,
Yeah.
which was great because it's part where Sam Wilson comes from, but it's also part where Anthony Mackie comes from. So it was great for him to do that because we all know Anthony's from the South. I think he's actually from Louisiana as well. But I thought it was great. Like you said, it's subtly, not in your face about it, subtly deals with some of the racial issues that are going on in the world. It's not in your face that people are going to get turned off by it, but at the same time, it's like it makes you think.
Yeah.
And it's a slow burn towards inevitably what we're going to get, and you see it in JR's background. There is this buddy cop movie that we're going to get, this buddy cop TV show. We're going to get this like Lethal Weapon kind of deal.
Yeah.
And I also like too is you still have Sam is that wisecracking. It's like, where does Sam Wilson begin and where does Anthony Mackie end? Kind of moment. And he's again ripped right from the comic books.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see part of taking up the mantle of Captain America, if that's the end game, no pun intended, in this show, is that he does take on the mantle. Is he matures, because he's still that kind of loudmouth, sarcastic, snarky, wisecracking Falcon, Sam Wilson. So I loved it. I give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. I almost would give it a 10 out of 10, but I know people are freaked out by perfection, but it's pretty good. And Carrie, the director, that's her name, Carrie, whatever her name is. Dude, 2 thumbs up. You nailed it. So, JR, take us home on your thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, just absolutely. It was a great entry, man. Just if this is her first foray into the MCU, is a hell of a. It's not a jab, bro. It's a freaking haymaker into MCU, because I feel like if she really keeps this pace the whole entire season, we might see a mainstay within the MCU universe, or within the MCU just filming all that. They might give her whatever she wants to do, and I'm hoping that's the case. But yeah, just overall the intrigue of the storyline, I'm hooked. Like, I want to know what's going on. It's this just from like the subtle facts as subtle little things as a fan. Like, all right, cool. What happened after the blip? Life dealing with the blip. Family is in there. I'm a big family guy. And the whole thing with Bucky and just him trying to get over his trauma, or the trauma that he's committed on others. I definitely want to see that. I'm definitely invested in that storyline as well. But overall, man, yeah, it's a great first episode. I'm really, really hyped for the season. I thought it was gonna come out today. It came out last night. I would have watched it last night if I could. But yeah, man, it was.
We are expecting really it. Yes, midnight release on Disney Plus every Friday night. So Thursday night into Friday morning for those of you keeping track at home. Especially much like when we were kids and we went to midnight showings. You'd go out Thursday night, and then right at the stroke of midnight for Friday, you could go out and see these movies. Matter of fact, one of the last midnight showings I went to was The Dark Knight, which, by the way, segue into talking about next week, our show for next week, which will be about collecting. I'm sure JR will throw this into his news and notes. We'll kind of tease with this. There's a rumor going around that Christopher Nolan's jumping ship. He is leaving Warner Brothers, and he is coming to the House of the Mouse to film a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. So we will talk about that, I'm sure, on next week's show. But thank you for joining us for this special bonus show. We're going to try to do this every single Friday to wrap up the episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And if things go according to plan, we'll bring it back in June for Loki and What If. Like JR said, Loki, every time they show stuff, which, by the way, too, when they did the quote premiere yesterday morning for Falcon and Winter Soldier, our first time we have seen Haley Steinfeld not in costume, but first time we saw her on camera, essentially acknowledging she is Kate Bishop. She was side by side with Jeremy Renner, aka Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, and they looked tore up from the floor up, much like the those Hawkeye covers where you see Kate Bishop just kind of got the nose bandage and she's all tore up, like she's not afraid to get down and dirty. So that show's gonna be so good. But guys, let us know in the comments below what you thought of episode number 1 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What did we miss? What did you like? What are your ideas of going forward as to what's going to happen in this show? And of course, as always, find us on social media at PS Comics I Love You on Facebook and Instagram. PS Comics I Love the letter U on Twitter, and you can also email us. It's always in the stuff below. And we will see you next week for the collector's episode number 39 of PS Comics I Love You. He's J.R. Kambakungan. I'm the voice of reason, Kevin Pillow. And as we always say, peace.
All right, man.